I'm going to be teaching you how to use digital papers to take your SVG files to next level print and cut designs. If you're familiar with digital papers already, you may just associate them with digital scrapbooking, but I'm going to show you they can do so much more. If you see up close on this Hey Honey card, the honey drip is filled in with a pattern. The text here is filled in with a different pattern. So I'm going to show you how to do this in Design Space. It's actually really quite easy, so let's get started. So the first place that we're going to go is Creative Fabrica. If you haven't heard of Creative Fabrica yet, it is an entire site filled with, as you can see here, fonts, graphics, craft projects, SVG files. So you can either buy things individually or you can do a subscription where you have access to download everything that's on their site. Okay, so I'm just coming here, let's search for butterfly paper. So you can try something like butterfly pattern, butterfly digital paper, and I'm just going to find one that I like, and let's go with this set here that has this kind of pink background and colorful butterflies on it. Click on the one that you want, it'll pull up that actual item listing, and then again, if you're logged in and you have a subscription, you'll just see download right here, or you can buy it individually. Then this is where we get to choose where we want to save this folder of papers. So we're going to go into this patterns folder that I made. Then when we go and open up that patterns folder, you can see here is this zipped folder. So you need to click extract all or unzip, whatever it is that is going to pull out each of those individual files. And then here's where we have the patterns that we'll be able to use. And then just to keep things clean, you can delete that zipped folder. And also when you go and download my files, same thing, it's going to be in a zipped folder. And then once you extract it, you'll be able to delete the zipped folder part. So now I can jump over into Design Space, open up a new project, and we need to upload some of these things into Cricut. So first we're going to upload the SVG files. And when you're uploading to Cricut, you have to do these one at a time. Okay, so we have this cut image, and then click upload, then come back, upload again, browse, go to the folder where you have the file, and then click on the next one to upload. Repeat this process. And then I'll show you how it's just a little bit different for uploading a pattern. So now we're going to click on this tab called Pattern Fill, and this button changes to Upload Pattern. Now we're going to be uploading the pattern images. Okay, now you can see here if you accidentally try to upload the pattern by using the upload image button, you're going to get this here, and this is not what we want. So go back into Design Space, make sure you have pattern fill so you can upload the pattern. Those patterns are stored in the pattern swatches in Design Space, and here you can see the SVGs that we uploaded. So go ahead and pick the Hey Honey and add it to the canvas. I'm going to click Ungroup so we can manipulate each color section separately. So we click on this one and change it to Print Then Cut. And it's going to default to just that color. We're going to change it to Pattern. And then you can see Design Space has a bunch of patterns that are preloaded, so you can use those. Okay, but here's this orange cloud, and you can see it just puts that pattern in place of the color. Something else we can do is edit the pattern a little bit. So you can use this slider to change how big or small the pattern is. You can slide the pattern to the left or the right or up or down, and sometimes that might make a difference in how it looks to you. You can also rotate it. I like how that looks. Easy to read still. You see the color and the pattern. Okay, so now that's how it shows up on our screen. That's how it's going to print. Okay, same thing for our little honey drip. Change it to print then cut, and then you're able to change this to pattern. Here we're going to use the little yellow and flowers. And I know I want to edit the pattern on this one. I want it a little bit larger so that it's a little bit easier to see that they're flowers. But I also want to move it around a little bit so you get a good amount of yellow and then a good amount of flowers throughout the shape. All right, for the jar, I want to leave it this same color, but I want it to be still a print then cut so that everything is going to print in this design. And one thing that you can notice when you turn on the grid, you can see the grid lines in between all of these different shapes. We're going to create an offset, kind of make a sticker border around this whole image. And you can see there's still some cutout spaces in that back layer. So we're going to select that back layer, bring it over here to the side, and we need to change it back to a cut image. So when it's a cut image, now you can click on contour, and this button down here at the bottom, hide all contours. Now the only thing that's left is this one big outline, and that's what we want. That's like the background of our whole design. Okay, so once that's all centered, then you select everything and click flatten. And then one way we can double check is if we change the color of our canvas, and then you look here, you just have that white outline and there's no cuts on the inside around any of the letters. Let's move on to our next design and do this one. Pollination powers the planet. We're going to hide our first design that we made. Go in here, ungroup it again. And let's put a pattern on the world where the water goes. So this time I'm going to choose from the blue patterns that are already loaded into Design Space. Then I can click on the filter tab and go to the blue colors, and then just scroll down through to find the blue that I like. So you can see here you've got this little white line, and that's like the edge of the pattern, but we can adjust it a little bit. You can play with the scale to make it larger or smaller. We can change the vertical position. Okay, I like how that looks. And now let's click on the green layer and do the same thing. Change it to print then cut. Change it to pattern. And then filter through the green colors. Okay, for the words, we're also going to use print then cut, but I'm just going to use this dark gray solid color so it's nice and easy to read. Let's go through the same process, making an outline, making a sticker. We've got a couple of different ways to do this. I'll show you first by just selecting everything and doing the offset like we did before with the honey design. All right, and that's not bad, but I also want to try it with just a plain circle. So you can bring in a circle shape, And then let's take that offset and just turn it off for a minute. We'll group that design and drag it over on top of our circle. We can center that, and I just think that looks better as a plain circle than as a kind of wiggly outline around all the letters. So let's hide that one and let's work on our final design. We're going to do this SVG Rise and Shine. So for the Rise and Shine image, we need to make a background, because if you just leave the letters, then it's going to actually cut all of those lines where the letters are, and we don't want it to do that. So I'm going to give the top layer a solid color and the background layer pink pattern, and then this is how it'll look when we print it out. One last thing I'm going to show you here in Design Space is how you can use the slice function with print then cut patterns. So here I'm just adding a basic square shape. I'm going to change it to print then cut. Click on the color swatch, change this to pattern, and let's use one of these butterfly papers that we downloaded from Creative Fabrica. I want to edit the patterns so that the butterflies are a little bigger, and so that one of them is kind of centered in my square. Then I'm going to pick another shape, or you could also use a different SVG that you've uploaded. Layer it over the part of the design that you want, and then you're going to select the pattern in the background and the shape on top and hit slice. Then you're going to have three different pieces from that slice. You're going to have the original heart shape, the cutout heart shape, and the extra from the pattern layer. So you can delete those two pieces, and then here you have this heart that's been where you've sliced out exactly the part of the pattern that you wanted. We click Make It. You're going to see we've got a little problem here, but it's easy to fix. You can see our background pink layer and our Rise and Shine layer are not stacked like we want them to be. So we're going to cancel this, go back to our canvas. You can see they're in two different layers over here. Select both of them and then hit flatten. And now it's one layer, and it will print all together and just cut around that solid pink. So now when we go to make it, it's going to look right on our mat. Click continue. It will connect to your machine, so make sure your machine is powered on. Click send to printer. So you're going to make sure that the bleed is turned on. For these designs, whereas there's a colored outline, it's going to blur that out just a little bit on the edges, so that when it cuts, you'll get color everywhere and no little accidental sliver of white as it cuts out. I'm going to change this to best quality. I'm just using a regular full sheet sticky label. So I'm going to click print. I have that paper in my printer now, and it's going to print out for me. I'm going to use the washi sheet setting. If you've printed out on white cardstock to like make a label or something, then click the cardstock setting. So, what do you think? Easy and lots of possibilities, right? So my printer printed out my design, I sent it to Cricut so it could cut the outlines of everything, and here's what you've got. You can, like I said, make stickers, you can put these on cardstock and make tags or cards, Or like this one that I showed you at the beginning, I just put the whole sticker on top of a pre-made cardstock card. If you really liked the bee design, I actually have a whole bundle of honeybee files that are for sale in my Etsy shop. You can find that at SVG's in the Rain. So thanks so much for joining me here, and I will see you around the internet. Bye.